If you've ever stepped inside a wartime log cabin in deep winter and felt that slow, even warmth that doesn't vanish the moment the fire fades, you've already encountered a truth most modern builders never learned. During World War II, fuel shortages weren't hypothetical. Wood had to be cut by hand, hauled by sled, and burned sparingly. There was no excess, no margin for waste, and no room for comfort mistakes. Yet these cabins stayed warm through brutal winters, using less fuel than many modern homes burn today. They didn't solve the problem with bigger stoves or constant fires. They solved it with physics, materials, and techniques refined long before electricity or cheap fuel existed. What's striking is that none of this knowledge was secret. It was standard practice, passed down through frontier life and reinforced by wartime necessity. Somewhere along the way, modern construction forgot it, and the result is that we now burn more wood, spend more money, and still live with cold floors and drafty walls. The difference isn't technology. It's understanding how these cabins were designed to work. How World War II builders treated logs as thermal batteries rather than simple walls. One of the most important principles wartime builders understood was thermal mass. Thick logs weren't chosen for aesthetics or strength alone. They were chosen because dense wood absorbs heat slowly and releases it just as slowly. During the day or during a hot firing cycle, heat soaked into the logs. Overnight, when the fire dropped low or went out entirely, that stored warmth radiated back into the living space. This created stable interior temperatures with minimal fuel input. Builders favoured slow-grown timber harvested from older forests because it was denser and held heat better. Logs were air-seasoned naturally, often for a year or more, stacked off the ground and rotated to dry evenly. Kiln-dried, fast-grown wood simply didn't perform the same way. Today, this lesson still applies. If you're restoring or building, prioritize wall thickness and material density over appearance. Even adding reclaimed timber or masonry near heat sources can recreate this thermal buffering effect without burning more fuel. Why sealing against wind mattered more than sealing against cold. Wartime builders understood something many modern homeowners still miss. Cold air doesn't remove heat nearly as fast as moving air does. Wind infiltration was the real enemy. Before insulation was ever considered, cabins were sealed obsessively. Logs were tightly fitted, notched precisely, and chinked in multiple layers rather than a single application. Clay, lime, ash, animal hair, and sawdust mixtures were used because they flexed with the wood instead of cracking apart. Thin layers were applied over time, allowed to cure and reinforced as the structure settled. This created a living seal rather than a rigid one. Modern caulks often fail within a few seasons because they don't move with the structure. If you want immediate improvement in any cabin, start by stopping airflow. Seal sill logs, corner joints, roof intersections, and floor penetrations. A structure that blocks wind will feel dramatically warmer even at lower interior temperatures. Why stove placement mattered more than stove size. World War II cabins weren't heated by oversized stoves placed wherever space allowed. Stove placement was deliberate and central. Heat was meant to move through the structure before leaving it. Many cabins placed stoves slightly off-center, so warmth travelled through interior walls and floors, loading thermal mass instead of racing straight to the chimney. Some even routed stovepipes horizontally for short distances to extract additional heat before venting. This wasn't improvisation. It was heat harvesting. Modern cabins often waste enormous amounts of energy by venting heat too quickly. Simply repositioning a stove, adding masonry behind it, or extending stovepipe runs safely can reduce wood consumption significantly. The goal isn't a hotter fire. It's capturing the heat you're already producing. So, let's talk about how floor height and crawl space design really prevented cold floors. Cold floors were just unacceptable in wartime cabins, because any heat wasted at ground level couldn't be replaced easily. Builders, well, they raised cabins above the frost lines and managed the airflow beneath them quite carefully. Prevailing winds were blocked, while controlled ventilation stopped moisture from building up. Floors were built thick, often layered, trapping air pockets that worked as insulation. Rugs, hides, and heavy textiles weren't just decoration. They were actually part of the heating system. You know, a lot of modern cabins sit too low or let air flow freely underneath, bleeding heat constantly. Simply blocking wind beneath the structure can, honestly, raise interior temperatures noticeably without burning any extra fuel. Now, let's move on to how roofs and attics were built to trap heat, especially before modern insulation existed. Wartime builders, they understood that heat would escape upward first. Roofs were made steeply pitched to shed snow quickly, which prevented those melt-freeze cycles that pulled heat outward. Attic spaces acted as thermal buffers, trapping warm air before it could escape. Roof assemblies were layered with wood, felt, and sometimes even earth or sod to add mass. This wasn't just crude construction, it was effective thermal engineering, using whatever materials were available. Even today, improving attic ceiling, adding ceiling mass, and reducing heat escape above your living spaces remains one of the quickest ways to boost heating efficiency. All right, let's talk about why heating routines mattered just as much as the way cabins were built. Cabins weren't kept constantly hot. Fires were burned hot and short at strategic times, usually in the morning and evening, to load up the thermal mass. This saved fuel, cut down on chimney fire risk, and kept the warmth steady. You see, modern habits of keeping a constant low fire often just waste heat straight up the flue. Learning to heat in cycles, well, that lines up with how these structures were actually designed to work. So, why do these lessons still matter now? These methods weren't abandoned because they didn't work. They were forgotten because cheap fuel and fast construction replaced careful design. As energy costs climb and self-reliance becomes important again, World War II, cabin knowledge isn't just nostalgia, it's practical. Apply even one of these principles and you'll feel an immediate improvement in comfort. Apply several and you'll understand exactly why wartime builders trusted these cabins with their lives. If this kind of hard-earned knowledge matters to you, go ahead and subscribe to the Wartime Frontlines and share this with someone who values craftsmanship that truly lasts.